welcome to the Esoteric Empire. So today we're going to be talking about why Aquariuses, Pisces, and Scorpios may seem to be like distant or far away in their actions. So depending on where Aquarius, Pisces, or Scorpio is ruled or is in your chart, this will affect that spectrum of yourself or how you are influenced by these energies. So this is really for people, especially if you're like an ascendant of one of these signs, or if you are a sun sign. This will say how your actions are. We're going to talk about this. So the reason why Aquariuses, Pisces, or Scorpio may seem to be distant, or their actions will show up as somebody who wants to be separated or away from certain things or quiet or something like that, is because of the planets that these are ruled by. So the planets that these signs are ruled by, Aquarius is co-ruled by Uranus energy. We also have Pisces, who is co-ruled by Neptune, and then Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Okay, so when we think about the planets Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, we think that, well, if you know anything about astrology or just space in general, these planets are really, really far away from Earth, meaning that in our solar system or in our space that we are currently in as a spaceship floating through space, okay, the sun doesn't really show these planets. We're not that close to it. You know what I'm saying? We're really, really far away from it. At one point in the past, we were more close in space with these planets. And that was a different time. That was a different age, if you will. So now that's why, for a lot of people that grew up, you heard Pluto's not a planet anymore. It's really just because we're moving past that area of space. And so it seems to be further away. It's left in a different time period. So when you think about that in regards to how this influences certain signs, when you have planets that are still a part of the solar system, but really, really far off from Earth or in comparison to the sun and the other bigger planets, and keep in mind, the reason that these planets are so big is because we're in that arena of the time and space that we're in currently. If you were to get closer to Pluto, or if you were on Pluto, everything would be in Pluto's image or Pluto's perspective. But since they're so far away, they're smaller. So this is why in astrology, a lot of people would say, oh, well, those are the outer planets, so they don't have much effect or influence on who you are. They do have a big influence depending on where it is placed in your chart. But as far as, being like your sun sign is a huge aspect of your astrology, because the sun is that's the light in this system. Okay, I'm trying to make it make sense, because when I talk about these things, I'm talking from a whole different dimension, and I'm trying to make it make sense for people who are in this world. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, those planets do have an effect. Now, the effect is that they're really, really far away. They're distant. So this is how it will show up in Aquarius or Pisces or Scorpio. So let me break this down. So being that Aquarius is co-ruled by Saturn is a really, really big influence in this world that we're in today. So Aquariuses won't necessarily be super quiet. They may be a little distant, but because they have that Saturn energy, they know how to incorporate that weirdness or that different energy that is foreign to most people into a way that is cohesive with the collective, being that they're also ruled by Saturn. Let's see. When we're talking about Pisces is, I would say they're quiet, and they're ruled by Neptune, and they're also co-ruled by Jupiter. So they have that, they're usually more optimistic, or they like to be around people. They like to indulge and have fun because of that Jupiterian energy. But that Neptune energy is going to make it to where they're really spacey. Sometimes they're really quiet because they have a whole world within them that they're living in. And then we have Scorpio. Scorpio, they are, ruled by Pluto. So with this energy, Scorpio is going to be more just really, really different and closed off. And remember, Pluto is also a really cold place, if you want to talk about it to make sense here. It's supposed to be a cold planet, meaning that there's a lot of things that are frozen solid to the point where, let's see, if you're talking about a person who's really closed off, that's like if you were to correlate that with the element of frozen. So a lot of emotional things that they have been through or they're fixated on is frozen solid. You can't change it. And so if a Scorpio is like that with you, it basically means that there's no changing it unless there's some warmth. And warmth can be the same thing as passion, anger, or love. Okay, so kind of break it down like that. So if you're thinking about it that way, Scorpios are usually really cold and distant because the influence that they are ruled by is a cold and far off place, right? So that's how they show up to other people. And so it can be, you have to get to know them, you have to warm them up to your energy in order to break through that ice and then get get to know the true Scorpio, and then you'll see they're probably totally different from how they show themselves. So like I said, if you are a person, like all of these signs, what I feel like they have in common, a lot of them you have to try to figure them out. I think Aquarius may be one of the more I would say approachable signs when it comes to this, but they are distant, just because that's just how they are. They're just different. You know, when people say they're just different, it's just because what they're influenced by is totally different from what Earth is, but they still have that Saturn influence because they're co-ruled by Saturn. So it makes it to where they know how to kind of jump into the structure of things. They know how to kind of slide up in there. And then Pisces, I feel like they are, you know, a lot of people think that they're just like wavy, different individuals, which is true because they have that Neptune energy, which is like really trippy, different, animated. But where they come off as distant is sometimes they're really quiet and they're secretive until they get to know you. And then you get to see that Jupiterian side of them. And then Scorpio, it really depends on how the person is fixated. So if a Scorpio is emotionally happy about something, they're always going to be that way when it comes to a certain subject or whatever the subject matter is. A Scorpio has to learn how to mold themselves out of a certain way of being or a way of thinking or a way of reacting. And that's when you see a Scorpio, they can be one way in the beginning of their life and then transform a totally different way at the end of their life or the middle or whatever. And then some Scorpios never change, which is kind of defeats the purpose of being a Scorpio. You're here to transform Scorpios, so make sure you know that. So yeah, I guess that's it. I just wanted to make this a quick food for thought to kind of help you understand why the Aquarius, Scorpios, or Pisces around you may seem distant or you may not be able to connect with them. So yeah. I'll see you guys in another video. If you want more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload on this channel. All right, bye.